The beeping of the heart monitor slowed as Sarah took Michael's hand, her eyes filled with a peace that seemed impossible given her diagnosis just 12 months earlier. "Who would have thought," she whispered, "that your 3 little tornadoes crashing into my hospital room would give me something worth fighting for?" The wedding band on her finger caught the sunlight streaming through the window, not a symbol of goodbye as the doctors had predicted, but of a beginning no one saw coming. If this story of unexpected love and second chances touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more incredible true stories that remind us how life's greatest gifts often come from its most chaotic moments. Michael Jenkins never planned on raising 3-year-old triplets alone. After his wife Amanda died during childbirth, he became both mother and father to Emma, Ethan, and Ellie. For years of exhaustion had etched permanent shadows under his eyes, but he'd found a rhythm in the chaos, until that Tuesday afternoon at Memorial Hospital when everything changed. "Daddy, look at the balloons." Ellie had squealed, breaking free from his grip in the pediatric wing where Ethan was getting stitches after a playground fall. Her brothers immediately gave chase, their little legs pumping with the supernatural energy only preschoolers possess. "Kids, wait!" Michael called, abandoning the insurance paperwork and sprinting after them. He followed their giggles down the wrong corridor, past the pediatric ward and into the oncology department. By the time he caught up, they had already invaded room 307, where a young woman sat up in bed, her head wrapped in a colorful scarf, laughing as the triplets bombarded her with questions. "Are you a princess?" Emma asked, pointing to the woman's turquoise head covering. "I'm sorry," Michael panted from the doorway. "They're like herding cats." The woman, Sarah Collins, according to the whiteboard on the wall, smiled. "Don't apologize. This is the most excitement I've had in weeks." Something in her eyes caught Michael's attention. Despite the obvious signs of chemotherapy, there was a spark there, a defiance that reminded him of Amanda. He gathered his children, apologized again, and left, but not before noticing the book on her nightstand, The Chronicles of Narnia, his late wife's favorite. Sarah had been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer 6 months earlier. At 32, she'd been given less than a year to live. A kindergarten teacher before her illness, she missed the sound of children's laughter more than anything. The next day, Michael returned to her room with a hand-drawn card from the triplets and a fresh copy of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. He'd told himself it was just to apologize properly, but when he saw her face light up at the sight of him, he knew it was something more. "They insisted," he said, handing her the card covered in wobbly hearts and stick figures. "Did they insist on the book too?" Sarah asked with a knowing smile. "That was me," he admitted. "I noticed yours was falling apart." Their conversation flowed easily, as if they'd known each other for years instead of minutes. Sarah told him about her classroom of 25 kindergartners, now being taught by a substitute. Michael shared stories of raising triplets alone, the impossible logistics of bath time, and how he'd learned to braid hair by watching YouTube tutorials. "You should bring them back sometime," Sarah suggested as he was leaving. "If you want to, I mean." The visits became regular. Twice a week, Michael would bring the triplets after preschool. They would color, read stories, or play board games with Sarah. The children adored her, especially Emma, who insisted on bringing Sarah a new drawing each visit. "Miss Sarah, are you going to die?" Ethan asked one afternoon with the brutal honesty only children possess. The room fell silent. Michael began to apologize, but Sarah stopped him. "I might," she answered honestly. "The doctors are trying to help me, but sometimes people get too sick to get better." "My mommy died," Ellie said quietly. "She's in heaven." Sarah's eyes met Michael's over the children's heads. "I know. Your daddy told me. She must have been very special." "She was," Michael said, his voice thick. "But she would be happy we found a friend like you." As weeks turned into months, Sarah's condition stabilized, not improving dramatically, but not worsening either. Her doctors were cautiously optimistic about a new treatment protocol. Meanwhile, her relationship with Michael deepened beyond friendship. They talked late into the night after the children were asleep, sharing their fears, dreams, and regrets over phone calls that neither wanted to end. "I shouldn't be doing this," Sarah confessed one night. "Getting attached to you, to the kids. It's not fair to any of you." "Life isn't fair," Michael replied. "If it was, Amanda would be here raising our children, and you'd be teaching kindergarten. But we're here now, and I'm not walking away because we're afraid of what might happen." 6 months after their first meeting, Michael brought Sarah home from the hospital for a weekend visit. The triplets had transformed their guest room into Miss Sarah's room, decorating it with their artwork and treasures they'd collected, smooth stones, feathers, and wildflowers pressed between wax paper. That weekend, as they sat on the porch swing watching the children chase fireflies in the twilight, Michael took Sarah's hand. "I know this is crazy," he said. "I know the odds and the statistics. But I've learned that life is too short for caution. The kids and I, we love you, Sarah. If you're willing to take a chance on us, however long we have." "Are you proposing?" Sarah asked, tears welling in her eyes. "Inelegantly, yes," Michael laughed nervously. "The triplets helped me pick out a ring. It's inside if you want to see it." Sarah's answer came not in words but in the way she leaned forward and kissed him, her tears mingling with his own. They were married 2 weeks later in the hospital chapel, Sarah in a simple white dress, a crown of fresh flowers covering her bare head. The triplets served as flower girl and ring bearers, solemn in their responsibility until the moment they broke protocol to group hug Sarah during the vows. The doctors had given Sarah 6 months to live when she was first diagnosed. By the time of their first anniversary, she had defied those odds, though the cancer remained. The experimental treatment had shrunk her tumors, giving her precious time she hadn't dared hope for. "I don't know how much time we have," Sarah told Michael on their anniversary as they sat in the same hospital room where they'd first met, now decorated with cards and balloons. "But I wouldn't trade this year for a lifetime with anyone else." Michael squeezed her hand. "When Amanda died, I thought I'd never find love again. I was just trying to survive each day. You taught me that it's possible to hold grief in one hand and joy in the other." Sarah's health journey continued with ups and downs. There were hospital stays and scary nights, but also beach trips, birthday celebrations, and quiet evenings reading bedtime stories to the triplets. Sarah started a video diary for the children, recording messages for future birthdays and milestones, just in case. On the triplets' 5th birthday, Sarah was strong enough to host a backyard party. As she watched Michael chasing the children through the sprinkler, she realized something profound. Her illness had taught them all that love isn't measured in years but in moments fully lived. The beeping of the heart monitor slowed as Sarah took Michael's hand, her eyes filled with a peace that seemed impossible given her diagnosis just 12 months earlier. "Who would have thought," she whispered, "that your 3 little tornadoes crashing into my hospital room would give me something worth fighting for?" The wedding band on her finger caught the sunlight streaming through the window, not a symbol of goodbye as the doctors had predicted, but of a beginning no one saw coming. "The doctors say the latest scan shows improvement," she said, her voice stronger now. "It's not a cure, but it's time. More time than anyone thought possible." Michael kissed her forehead. "Time is all we've ever asked for." Outside the hospital room, the triplets waited with their grandmother, clutching handmade cards and small potted sunflowers, symbols of the hope that had bloomed from the chaos of that first meeting. Sometimes life's wrong turns lead us exactly where we need to be. Sometimes love finds us in our darkest moments, not to erase our pain but to help us carry it. And sometimes, the family we build from broken pieces becomes stronger than we ever imagined possible. As Sarah was discharged that day, walking out of the hospital under her own power with Michael and the children surrounding her, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the family she never expected but had always deserved. Life offers no guarantees, only possibilities. In choosing love despite uncertainty, Michael and Sarah showed that true courage isn't about knowing the outcome, it's about opening your heart anyway.